Hello, and today we're doing an FPL review of Game Week 21. Well, it wasn't a great game week, was it? Everything seemed to go against me. The average points this week, 48. How many did I score? 54. And with the -4 in consideration, it's technically 50. But, oh, dearie me, not a great week. And literally, look at this. Written down on paper, Game Week 21. I had locked in right there. Harvey Barnes in for Smith Rowe, and then Kane out for DCL. Well, I did one of those, DCL in for Kane, and then I went with Gundogan instead of Barnes, and I really regretted that because Barnes obviously scored, Gundogan blank, and I was so close to captaining Salah, so close to playing Dallas, but Kilman let me down. Gundogan didn't do anything, and Souček with another blank and a yellow card. You hate to see it, Game Week 21. Game Week 22 is only just around the corner, so hopefully we can do better then, but oh dearie me. Well, it's got to be said, first of all, that really, Pep Roulette, it was back to wreak some havoc. I mean, it's crazy. Sterling, benched. Stones, benched. Cancelo, benched. Mahrez, benched. He just loves it, Pep. He can't get enough of it. And to be fair, the likes of Thomas Tuchel at Chelsea and possibly even Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Manchester United could be the next Pep Rouletters because they change up their team so much. And Tuchel still doesn't know his best 11. So he's kind of getting a gauge of what his best team is. And, you know, the probably only Chelsea player that is nailed on to play is probably Edouard Mendy. But with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, they seem to have so many different options. They've got Cavani one week, Martial the next, both of them the next week. Then they have Fred and McTominay one week, or they have, you know, Fred and, I don't know, another midfielder in there. So there's loads of options for Manchester United, and they tinker about as well. So I think Fernandes is usually okay, but he wasn't okay this week because it's another blank for him. But away from home is where he gets points. So, you know, you got to think about that. It was a top 6 game today or this week against Arsenal away from home, but those games are always tight, so it's a frustrating one, but it's pretty inevitable. So let's go through my Game Week 21 review of this season. Oh, I mean, let's start off with the goalkeeper, really. That's probably the best place to start. I mean, he's a bit of a legend, to be honest. He's a clean sheet king that is Edouard Mendy. But the only issue, although it's better long term to have two goalkeepers that start in Mendy and Sanchez, the only issue is that it means you're always regretting sometimes you didn't play the other goalkeeper. So this week, Mendy got 6, Sanchez got 8 against Spurs. I know, what a shocker. This season is too hard to predict. The previous week, I went for Sanchez over Mendy, and they both got the same, so that was fine. The previous week before that, I went with Mendy over Sanchez, and Mendy got 8, Sanchez got 7, so again, made the right choice there. But it is one of those things, you will get them right sometimes, and you will get it wrong other times. But still, you know, I mean, this week was a frustrating one for a lot of people. So I think 54, all things considered, isn't the worst thing in the world. It's bang average. It's decent, but it is unfortunately a red arrow which stopped my successive green arrows. I think I had like 5 green arrows in a row, and now I've got a red arrow. But still, Mendy is keeping clean sheets for that Chelsea team, which is good to see. Since I did bring him in, he's not failed to get a clean sheet apart from that Leicester game in Game Week 19. But then of course he did have 2 games that week anyway. So yeah, pretty good. I'm happy about that from Mendy. It was a fairly comfortable game against Burnley for Chelsea. And then you look at Kilman. Now, Max Kilman, mate, you just let me down here. There's no need for it. I just played him because he just got a clean sheet against Chelsea. I thought Wolves' confidence would be up, and ultimately he was getting games. And Wolves are quite a frustrating team to play against sometimes. They can, you know, they can make the spaces a bit tighter, and they can really, you know, keep on blocking shots. I mean, it's so annoying that Kilman has to go and not concede, not keep a clean sheet, and then go get a yellow card. So that's really annoying. Let me down a bit there. But it's one of those things. It's a frustrating thing, obviously, because if I'd have played Dallas over Kilman, then I probably would have had a lot better of a result. But I just fancied Kilman this week. It was a gamble. It didn't pay off, but that's what fantasy is all about. It's making risks and hoping they pay off, and it didn't this week. 1 pointer from the defender, and then Ruben Diaz. What a legend! 8 points. I mean, he's just really, really consistent, and he does get a lot of points. Doing absolute bits once again. 2 bonuses is just lovely. He just looks a very solid defender at the minute. Man City defensively are quite good, but you'd expect that against Sheffield United. But luckily, Diaz wasn't rotated out. And the Pep Roulette didn't really hurt me too much this week. Didn't affect me too much, apart from John Stones. But Cresswell did come in. Obviously, it's better if Dallas did, but it wasn't to be. Cresswell came in, and we're moving on to Cresswell now, because he got himself a last-minute cheeky assist from a corner. The goal scored by Craig Dawson, who's really a threat in the box, it's got to be said. But the point is, Cresswell is so attacking, and I really should have put him second sub over Dallas. But I just thought Cresswell was going to basically get a return, which he did, and I thought Leeds would get absolutely battered, but it didn't go that way, and fair play. It's so annoying, Stuart Dallas. Like, why does he always have to score when I don't want him to? I mean, he's the absolute GOAT. I said at the start of the season, this guy would be the GOAT. He'd be the next Lord Lundstrom, and he literally is. So that was good for me, but it's just frustrating when you don't have him in your team to actually get the points. So yeah, 3 bonuses from Salah. Moving on. Now, it was so frustrating. The Friday night before the deadline, I had captain on Salah, and I think it was just a bit of overthinking which has led me down this route. So it's a really frustrating one. I was this close to captaining him. I even tried to convince the YouTuber Let's Talk FPL to do it on his deadline stream, but unfortunately couldn't convince myself. And I don't know, I think everyone seemed to have captained Salah, so I went a bit different, and I captained Gundogan. And I was bound to stop Gundogan's good form, wasn't I? But, you know, he's got nice fixtures coming up, and he's still a good player, and, you know, it does allow me to make other transfers in the future. So I'm not too fussed about that at the end of the day. I mean, 3 points from a new transfer is not ideal, and, you know, the same with Calvert-Lewin, he did absolutely nothing. But he did get a clean sheet, so it's better than if I had captained, you know, Calvert-Lewin or even Souček. I mean, yeah, I'm glad I didn't captain Souček. I saw a couple of people captain Ruben Diaz, though. Fair play if he did that. 16-pointer. But obviously it would have been better to captain Salah. And I'm pretty gutted I didn't. But at the end of the day, Gundogan got a clean sheet. So that's 6 points for the German. And then talking of 6 points, Jack Grealish, lovely stuff, with the assist against Southampton. Just looked an absolute class act in that game. He really does run the show for Villa, and the amount of times he was down that left-hand side and he just took on the Southampton defence, and it was just making it look so easy. So he's a really good player for Villa, and he just gets involved in all the goals. So that's perfect for fantasy. And Salah, what a legend. Like, that second goal, can I just say, that was absolutely dreamy stuff. Like, the touch from that Shaqiri ball in, he just brought it down and just slotted it past him with such confidence. I mean, with Salah, like, Salah is Salah, like, class is permanent, form is temporary, but, you know, I think the rest of the premiums are really still struggling. Son, obviously Mane not in the squad, you've got Fernandes still struggling, you've got the likes of, just trying to think, Sterling didn't play, of course, so, you know, it is a bit of a problem for a lot of people who've, you know, banked up on their big players. But at the end of the day, that's the nature of this week. It was an odd one for a lot of people. And then Souček, mate, what are you doing? Like, 1-pointer, that's just not really what you like to see. Obviously, it was a tough game against Liverpool. Not many people would have backed him. I backed him because I had the confidence in him. He'd score against anyone. He's been that kind of player this season. But it's frustrating when, number one, you're very quiet in a game and there's not even the chances that you're having to possibly get points. But then you go and get booked as well, just to top it off, to make that from 3 points to unfortunately, well, it would have been three, obviously, if he'd have got a goal or a bonus from something. But the point is, the yellow card made it 1, so not ideal stuff at all. And then Fernandes 3-pointer. I mean, Bruno Fernandes is still a good player, but just didn't really look on it against Arsenal, and had that chance where he kind of never quite got the purchase on the shot. It was a tight angle, but I suppose he would have wanted to really test the goalkeeper from there. And Cresswell and Grealish, they always deliver, so I'm very happy with those two. And Cresswell coming off the bench for John Stones, not a bad thing to happen, but it would be better to have been Dallas. But at the end of the day, we can't control it. Mikel Antonio, 2-pointer. Again, it was against Liverpool. West Ham weren't quite themselves in this game, but they've still been a very good team all season, so you don't need to worry about that necessarily. And then Calvert-Lewin, 2-pointer. Against Newcastle, it looked like the game that was going to be got goals galore. He usually scores against Newcastle, and Everton were backed for that game, but fair play. Newcastle come out, surprise everyone, and 2 goals from Callum Wilson. Oh, dearie me. A bit of a nightmare, but as I said, glad I didn't captain Calvert-Lewin, who would have only got 4 points if I'd have done that. But in terms of my bench, Sanchez, 8-pointer. Not what I was expecting. 0 from Stones, 7 from Dallas, and 2 from Brewster. So that just outlines the quality of my team, that I'm still getting points on the bench. It's just I couldn't quite get the balance this week of which ones to play and which ones could have got me more points. But that's fantasy for you. You get some of them the luck of the draw. Some of them you just don't quite find a way through. But I still think 54 is decent for this week. The average 48. Well done, by the way, to the manager name of NFC All-Stars, managed, of course, by Gary Norris with 120 points. But your rank is not exactly ideal in the 4 millions, but fair play for triple captaining Mo Salah. The people that had Bamford off the bench, though, so jammy this week. Like, that is ridiculous. And Azpilicueta, unbelievable to get 15-pointer. And then Martinez is a goalkeeper that just keeps on getting clean sheets. So fair play to him. But yeah, it wasn't the best week for me. It's got to be said. I think I'll just look back on this week as a bit of a frustrating one, but we can't let it affect us too much. And looking into other things, what is my current overall points? Well, it's 1,268. My rank 227,700. So my game week points 54. And in terms of my mini leagues, well, we've gone down in most of them. That's probably expected. The main leagues that I wanted to stay top in, I've stayed top in one of them, gone down in the other, which is quite frustrating. I think I'm pretty sure, and I'm only about 9 points or 11 points away from that. So that's annoying, but at the end of the day, I'm still within reach, and if we just have a really good game week 22, we'll be straight back up there in no time. So yeah, it's no reason to get worried or anything. It's still a great rank at 227k, but yeah, just not exactly what we would have wanted. But at the end of the day, 3 points from Salah for the bonuses and a great haul from him. He kind of saved the week, really, but it's a shame I just didn't captain him. But to be fair, I did joke in the FPL preview that I might captain John Stones, so imagine if that had happened. But, of course, then I vice-captained Calvert-Lewin. Maybe I should have vice-captained Salah and gone for the John Stones captaincy. That would have been mad. But at the end of the day, it is what it is this week, and we moved on, really. So we move on to game week number 22. Let's hope for some better ones. And obviously the Kung Fu kick as well by Souček on Henderson. He was already on a yellow, and he's probably quite lucky to get away with that one as well. But I think any other week, this is probably a decent score because of the fact that there were so many blanks and rotations this week. And the Premier League is starting to get a bit more scrappy than it was at the start of the season. We saw high-scoring games, 7-2s, 4-3s. But now we're seeing a lot of 1-0s, a lot of 0-0s, and it's really hard to get points in fantasy. So You know, I think any other week this would be a good score, but it's bang average because of the fact that a lot of people captained Salah and a few people got the jam of Bamford basically. But you know, it is what it is. You know, my team is still in good shape, I believe, and I have been pretty solid. You know, across the season. So the odd week where things quite don't quite go to plan and slightly go against you, with the likes of Dallas and the likes of Gundogan and Salah getting points for the other people who captained him. It is what it is. That's bound to happen. So roll on game week 22 in just 1 day time. I need to go with my gut more often because my gut said Captain Salah. My also gut said I might captain Grealish and he got a return, which was more than Gundogan. But I will bounce back next week. I'm sure of it. So yeah, thanks for watching this FPL review for game week 21. Not ideal stuff, but we've got very quick time turnaround for the next one, and hopefully it's going to be a good week. I've got a feeling. So thanks for watching this one, and I shall see you in the FPL preview for game week 22, which will be coming tomorrow. I'll try and film that at some point. So yeah, make sure you check that out, and I shall see you in the next one.